I'd like to invite Matt Carter from the class of 2000 to come up and say a few words about his brother Ed.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everyone, for making it out tonight to celebrate Ed and Katie this evening. And specifically about Ed being his first major rival, I am quite honored to speak about him. So Ed is a gifted natural athlete, and he's one of those guys who is annoyingly good at whatever he does, whether it's a sport, hobby, anything. And besides his athleticism, which he inherited from our father, sorry Mom, it is Ed's intelligence that truly set him apart from his competitors. And Ed picked up tennis from a very early age, and he was mainly teaching himself. There were some coaches here or there, but Ed was truly a student of the game. And since our father passed away when he was just 4 years old, he watched. He watched others, he picked up what worked. He tried to scout his opponent's weaknesses and develop a game plan. And as he grew older, his game matured, and he looked to professionals. Specifically, he admired Stefan Edberg and Pete Sampras, and he began to emulate some of their shots into his game. And I was a tag-along my whole life. We're going from tournament to tournament. And I was on the sidelines, and it was always a joy to kind of watch what all the other spectators were saying. Ed quickly became known for his powerful first serve and ground strokes. He also looked really cool using a one-handed topspin backhand, which got a lot of people wondering, who is this guy? Who does he think he is? Until he would rip a cross-court passing shot and then go, oh, and then stick around and watch him. So, tennis played a huge part in Ed's life, all the way from boys' tennis tournaments, middle school, high school, college, and then professional. The game of tennis gave Ed lots of ups and downs and a lot of success. In that academy, it was his thing. Ed enjoyed the competition and wanted to win, and he did win a lot. Whenever we'd have a break at school, we were typically thrown into the car, driving to a tournament or flying to a tournament, and lots of credit goes to our mother for getting us there on what should have been her break. I always admired my older brother. He was my stand-in father and mentor growing up, and I copied him all the time. While at Academy, his classmates and teachers would always call me Little Ed, and I didn't mind it. I really didn't, because the guy was so darn successful. He taught me many life lessons in what it was like to lose, and that no matter what, he will always beat me in tennis or any other sport that had a racket or a paddle. Luckily, we switched to golf. However, that competitiveness remains with an annual brother tournament called the Carter Cup, complete with a tournament charter, rules guide, and trophy. Despite being such a fierce competitor, I always admired how humble my brother was. And whenever he won a tournament, he cared more about how he won and what it meant to be a good sportsman. I never really saw him celebrating. Tennis can be a very frustrating sport, and I was always impressed with him being able to keep his emotions intact and to remain level-headed. Granted, some of this discipline was instilled by our mother, but he was always able to stay in the moment and figure out what needed to be done. It's also very fitting with those characteristics that Ed became an attorney, as he loves to dissect, speculate, and talk, and talk, and talk, and talk, and talk. Quickly recounting his accolades, because they are definitely worth mentioning. In high school, Ed participated as a cross-country runner coached by Larry Booth. He led it 3 years and was the #1 runner his junior and senior years, as well as team captain. In tennis, also was just kind of an interesting fact, in middle school he was coached by the head of school, Chip McCalkin, and then while on varsity he was coached by John Dodd. And he set the record for most wins in Ohio history with a record of 129 victories and 10 losses. He won the state qualifying district tournament 4 years in a row. He came fourth in doubles as a freshman with Ted Finn. He placed third place as a junior in singles, and then finished runner-up as a senior. He also won the Jim Noble Award for Best Male Tennis Player in Ohio. And in college, Ed matriculated to Arizona State University. There he was a 4-year starter, both in singles and doubles. and each year he played first court doubles with 4 different partners. He was named first team All-American in 1999. He was a 3-time academic All-American selection. And his senior year, he was ranked as high as number 3 in the nation. He also was awarded team captain his senior year, and he won the Arizona State Best Senior Male Athlete Award. And in addition, he won the ASU male winner of the Pac-10 Conference Medal, given to seniors, male and female, to the best all-around student athletes. As an amateur, Ed won 13 combined singles and doubles in the United States National Championships. He also then turned professional at the 2000 U.S. Open and played until 2003 when he retired to go to law school. Ed was a 3-time doubles finalist in tournaments, but unfortunately was never able to close the deal on the professional stage. Now he enjoys his time with his wife Heidi, who I am happy to say is also competitive, and their 2 twin daughters, Caroline and Elizabeth. Ed, you're my best friend, and I couldn't be more proud of you. Congratulations on your induction to the Columbus Academy Hall of Fame.
Ed, welcome to the Athletic Hall of Fame, the number 44th recipient. Congratulations.
I'd like to start off by thanking everyone in the Alumni Association, all of you, for your support and sharing this special moment. Bob Kirk, who I saw before he started, told me instead of thank yous, I should tell good stories. And I always like Mr. Kirk's advice, so I'm going to try to ad-lib and do some of that. But there are some important thank yous that I need to go through before I get to some stories. First off, congratulations to my co-inductee, Katie Walker. It's really an honor to be part of this ceremony with you and to be able to share this and be linked with our induction. So congratulations. It's nice to be in the shadow. I'd also like to thank the teammates that I had across a number of sports. I obviously had some success in tennis, but I played a number of other sports. Some better than others. It's ironic to be at a basketball game getting this because that was the one sport that never quite worked out for me. My mom was always a great supporter of me and helped make sure that I kept my confidence. And so, every year, as my brother alluded to, whenever there was a break, the family would go off to a tennis tournament. And coming back from winter break, I would always be benched. And have to come off the bench, and it was always because I had missed winter practice, or so that's what my mom told me. It was never because I was, not good enough to start. I'm appreciative that the Alumni Association put me in here despite my basketball. I think I averaged like 4 points or something in there. But my teammates and classmates really pushed me, and it was a pleasure to be trying to strive for the school's motto and quest for the best with all of them over the years. In particular, I would like to acknowledge my teammates on the tennis team and the cross-country team. The cross-country group was just a great group of guys and gals. We had the co-ed team, and Jen Carlin helped Coach Booth out. And it was really, we started out, and Mr. Booth reminded me of this. I went to cross-country thinking this was just a way to avoid having to play football, which I wasn't very good at, because you have to play defense. And thought, this is a good way to stay in shape for tennis, but surprised a couple folks. Although Mr. Booth did give me some printouts that he somehow kept from 1995 with my cross-country times, and so, again, I'm going to hide these from the Alumni Association so they don't revoke. But it's great to see Mr. Booth and really appreciate all the coaching over the years. Some other coaches that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, as a Lifeguard Academy, phys ed is different than swimming, but we had some really great teachers, and Mr. Meege and Mr. Hicks, who I had over the years, and then coaches Hildreth and Exline and Barron, all contributed to teaching me how to be a better athlete. And then John Dodd, who was my longtime tennis coach. There were a number of years, as my brother mentioned, where I didn't have a formal coach, and so I relied really heavily on Coach Dodd. He had played tennis at Princeton and was really overqualified to be a high school tennis coach, but he gave it his all and was really tremendous. He helped really kind of extend the tradition that Richie Lee and Joey Fela and some of the guys in the late 80s and early 90s established. He had us, it was before we were in a league. So we were able to set whatever schedule we wanted. And Coach Dodd would look at the rankings at the end of the year and who did well in the tournament and which teams were good. And then we scheduled all of them for the next year. So we were always in Cleveland or Toledo or Cincinnati or Dayton playing whatever the state competition was. And he pushed us a lot, and it was a ton of fun, even though there were 2 different times that the team van ran out of gas on the way back. One coming back from Lancaster and one coming back from Dayton. And yeah, it was fun pushing the van on 270 trying to get to an exit because Coach Dodd didn't look at the gauge. And then, I'd like to thank my teammates and my coaches for college. Undoubtedly, I think a large reason why the Alumni Association considered me was probably for what I did after college. I actually had some better results. As my brother mentioned, I didn't win states. I came darn close, had a couple high school nemesis who went on to do good things in tennis as well. And so thank the college coach and college teammates for helping me there. And most importantly, my family. My mom and my brother, they truly did. I started playing tennis tournaments when I was 7, and my brother, 3 years younger. That meant every single break, every time off from school, he was driving somewhere with mom and me for a tournament. Dozens every year, very few that were in town. And so I really appreciate that. And then also the unconditional love and support. It took me a little longer. I guess I was a little slow to realize that I wasn't as good as my mom led me to believe that I was. I think my whole tennis career, I never thought that I lost because someone was better than me. It was always because I didn't play up to my potential. And I have my mom to thank for that. And while it's good to be realistic and know your limitations, in an individual sport like that, the confidence and the determination to keep pressing forward is really, I think, a great life lesson. And so whether it was earned or not, that confidence that my mom gave me and that support really helped me pursue a passion for the sport. And so thank you for all of that and all the sacrifices. I'm sure you guys didn't want to have to eat Thanksgiving dinner at an IHOP in a Boston hotel multiple years in a row because that's where the tennis tournament was. But you guys made those sacrifices for me, and I really appreciate it. I was always proud at Academy and to be in this Hall of Fame now with the extraordinary individuals that are part of that is humbling. It's the only thing maybe more humbling is some of these terrible pictures that are on we look back fondly, but joking aside, it really is an honor and privilege to join this group, and I really appreciate all of you sharing this memorable moment with me and my family. So thank you very much.